pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence. Roll call.
Councilor Coast? Here. Councilor Matthews?
Here.
Councilor Huner?
Present.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Present.
Councilor Fry?
Here.
5 members are present. We have a quorum.
Motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion moved by Councilor Huner and second by Councilor Coast. Councilor Huner?
Yes.
Councilor Coast?
Yes.
Councilor Matthews?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Names of individuals wishing to address council. I have a new Joe Ashelman, Wauseon homecoming. Come forward, Joe.
Hi, I just wanted to let you guys aware of what was happening and ask your permission to, again, have the beer garden in the same location that we've had it for the past 2 years in the spot right between the lawyer's office and Southern Breeze. The hours will be Thursday, July 31st, 5 to 11, Friday, August 1st, 5 to 11, and Saturday, August 2nd. The beer garden will not open until after the parade, which we're assuming is going to be about 1 o'clock. So, and then it will go to midnight. I'm not sure if you guys need anything else from me or if it needs to have a vote on that.
Anything? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just to sort of remind council of the process, there is the council passed the alcohol policy, which requires that the someone that wishes to sell alcohol outside or off park grounds submits an application to the police department. The police department then reviews it, has it signed by the department heads, and then that is presented to council. And then council is required to vote on accepting the application. My understanding is, I talked to Assistant Chief McConnell, and my understanding is the application has not been submitted yet, but that the police department is inclined to accept it once it receives the application. And I guess council can, if it desires to do so, sort of vote on the contingency that the application is provided to the police department and accepted by the police department. I think also the folks are working on getting the F1 permit still from the state.
Correct.
That sounds right. So that'll have to accompany the application. But I think last year that council just went ahead and voted to approve the application, if I understand.
I thought that we talked about this last year where we could eliminate them coming in every year, and also softball, Bill, when they have a beer tent, that we were going to change that so that people could just submit and it would be approved. If we've approved it before, then it would be approved again, unless there was changes they wanted to talk to us about. Did we or did we not do that? I thought we did.
I'm trying to remember.
You guys remember that when we talked about it?
I'm trying to remember.
I believe there was discussion of that, Tom, but I don't believe there was a revision to that existing policy, but that's something to consider for the future.
Yeah.
Now, Torbett, when I went to speak to Chief Torbett, he did sign the F permit. His signature needs to be on it, so he did sign that so I could send it in. And he at that point said I wouldn't need to come to city council meeting, but I wanted to make sure, being this is the first year that we wouldn't have come, I want to make sure to get it in our notes that, because there was no notes saying that we did not need to come again. So if that's the case, if I could let that be known, so I could get it in
What's the timeframe
my.
on the state? I mean, you had to put that in.
It's a 30-day, and I did call today, and it is pending, so it's waiting on somebody's desk. She said it has to do with the dates. She said call back in 2 days.
So Joe, just like last year, you're going to police this and you're going to check IDs, of course, and then no alcohol outside that fence.
That is correct. We've sent, the majority of our members have gone through the class, and then we went and helped out with the fireworks, so they are more aware of kind of how it works, so.
Great. I thought it went well last year.
Do we have to have some sort of a resolution so they don't have to keep coming in and asking us every year that this is in place unless there's any changes, then they would have to? Can we put that for next year's homecoming?
I think you'd have to revise your alcohol policy to provide for that, but that certainly, you guys are entitled to do that.
At this point, I mean, I feel
I say we
comfortable,
go ahead.
I feel comfortable making a motion to allow them to move forward with their beer garden with the final approval coming from our police
Hopefully it
department.
comes through.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion moved by Counselor Chamberlain and second by Counselor Matthews. Is there any discussion?
No.
Water spill, sorry.
Okay. Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
A little water action.
Yeah, we see.
Okay, moving on to department head reports. David?
I'm still working through the downtown revitalization grant application that was submitted couple weeks ago now, I believe. July 20th, I believe, or June 20th is when that was submitted. There is some news circulating that some of those initial applications were deemed ineligible. Ours is not one of them, so we're still in the pool. So that pool has reduced from 10 to under 10.
Oh, that's good.
So.
Don't want to nail you down.
Right. So that's, I mean, it's good news. But just moving forward, we're trying to figure out what money we have and what we can use it for eligible projects in the community. Still working with Sarah's Garden on their handicap playground. So I believe they're supposed to meet in front of council on the 4th. So other than that, everything's going good, smooth.
All right, great. Chief Sloter?
It's been a busy month here at the fire department. Call volume's up dramatically this month. And the contracts for EMS services, proposals have been submitted to the commissioners, and fire chiefs met with them last week. We have not heard feedback from that yet, but that's in process.
Short and sweet, huh?
There you go.
Thank you. Assistant Chief Bill Pennell.
Well, likewise with the police department, our calls for service for the first half of 2014 are up 8.7% over last year. So there has been an increase in calls for service. I have it broke down if anybody would like to meet with me after the meeting as to what areas are up and what areas are down. Also, for the month of August, we're going to do a traffic enforcement dealing with distracted driving, with anything from texting and driving to running stop signs and speed. So I just want to let everybody be aware of that. This is a program that's also being run by the Ohio State Highway Patrol, where they're going to be hitting US 20 real hard.
Shane, you take the back roads now.
US 20, all right.
All right, Tom, what do you got?
We've been fielding about the average number of grass complaints, and we're getting a few more applications for remodeling and a few for new units, but we're not quite where we were a few years ago, but we're bouncing back from this little setback we had. So I'm feeling good. I think next year will be a real good year for us.
Thank you. Dennis?
My two main projects are moving right along. The digester lid replacement at the water reclamation plant. Our contractor is submitting shop drawings for materials to the engineers for approval at this time. Going to have a quick turnaround on those, given the nature of the structure and so on. The water tower painting project is going very well. The interior, the majority of the interior is done. You may have noticed today the entire skirting was up there, sandblasting on the outside, and they are so far a little ahead of schedule. We anticipate having the tower back in service mid-August, so that's very good. And been doing middle of the year budget review for the line items that I'm responsible for, and seem to be in pretty good shape, I believe, so.
Dennis, do they have, it's gotta be awful hot inside that water tower. Do they have cool-down suits or something that makes it cooler for them, or do they just suffer the heat?
Some fans, that's all I've seen.
That's it.
Yeah.
Those little scarves that you get back to West.
Have you been in there?
Not inside when the containment's up because they're sandblasting.
Okay.
I think it's a good time to make a motion. And then let's go.
Tomorrow's supposed to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
Good time. Wait
Check
till
it out.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right, Jamie, what you got for us?
I do not have anything in the report. I've just been working with the auditors, getting them information they're asking for.
All righty. Tom?
We have a spate of legislation for review and reading by council. The first up is just the every 2 years, I guess, that's biannual renewal application for the governmental aggregators having to do with electricity. I would call your attention to the final ordinances for first read dealing with levying assessments for the Glenwood property. Those relate, I think as council knows, to 2 properties that are being transferred, and the seller wishes to have the amounts assessed so that she can pay them at closing. So closing is set for tomorrow, as I understand it. So upon completion of that transaction, assuming council passes the 2 ordinances, that those monies will be paid directly to the county and then back to the city. Also would point out, as council I'm sure knows, glad to have Mark Hagens with us, who's acting as special counsel on the rezoning application HUD proceeding. So Mark will be assisting council and the mayor and other folks as when we reach that point in the meeting. Okay.
Thank you. Moving on to first reading of legislation, Resolution 2014-11, authorizing the mayor to execute a renewal application for government aggregators and declare an emergency.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion moved by Counselor Coast and second by Counselor Matthews. Is there any discussion? Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final passage. Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Huner and second by Counselor Coast. Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, resolution 2014-11 passes on emergency and is now in effect.
Resolution 2014-12, amend ordinance 2013-12, annual appropriation ordinance by authorizing the Director of Finance to increase or decrease certain line item appropriations within the various funds listed within the year 2014. Somebody to speak?
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Chamberlain and second by Counselor Matthews. Is there any discussion? Counselor Chamberlain?
Hang on, yeah, a little discussion.
I had discussion on this too. Go ahead.
What, is this something that's happened fairly quickly, Jamie? Okay, bring us up to speed on what we're doing, real quick. What's the appropriation for?
The original appropriation was for the AG demo grant, which was brought to my attention later last week, Thursday, Friday. Because Tom Hall had a house that needed to be demolished, but we still had room available in our Moving Ohio Forward grant to be able to cover some of that cost. He said there's about $9,500 available, and asked to have that line item increase so that we could pay whoever's demolishing it. And since he was asked for that, I have included other line items that needed changed on the budget as well.
So the demo of that building, Tom, is paid for by Moving Ohio Forward?
Right, we will expend the check, and then they'll electronically put the money back in our account like they did the $200 and some thousand we spent on when the second round came out, Shane, they gave us $9,500, so we'll spend about 9, and then we'll take 5% as our administrative fee, and we'll bill them for that, and then if there's whatever change is left, we'll tell them they can keep.
So last Thursday, this house was, I mean,
The
it seems
issue
really quick,
is
that's all I'm saying, Thursday to Monday.
Well, the house started moving a little bit. The foundation, the basement wall fell in. It was relatively within 5 feet of houses on either side. And the lady's insurance was dropping her August 1st. I'm going on vacation the first week of August, so it was like, the mayor and I had been trying to figure out where to spend this money at, and the one person we thought we were gonna do has never gotten back with us in 3 months. So this one came up, and we could help a citizen in town that, and we helped the neighborhood by getting rid of something that's falling apart.
How did you get information that this foundation was so bad? Did she call you?
The police department actually called me the morning after the Clinton house blew up and tell me to come over to Cedar Street because the side wall fell in on this house, and it just kept, I mean, there's basically no footer, no nothing there. So, and this house, you were by it today, you saw, I mean,
Yes.
it's relatively a driveway width on one side and 4 feet away from a fairly new house on the other, so.
Well, the only reason, I didn't know that a house was coming down. And when I just happened to come out from mailing a letter and seeing this house being demolished, I thought maybe I missed something at the committee of the whole meeting, and
No, we didn't talk about it.
it wasn't
No.
discussed, yeah. And
No.
so, well, I mean, I was gone the 1st of July, but then when I look at my packet and I see that we're appropriating money today when the house is gone, I have questions on that the money was not even in place and the house is down. That's
I
an
guess
issue
when
that
you
I
get
have.
to emergencies, when it's starting to collapse, it was public safety.
I understand
over-
that, but Thursday I was at the meeting. I think that should have been brought up, Tom, Thursday.
Well,
that
it
this
wasn't
was
brought
an
up to me until
emergency.
Thursday afternoon that the lady actually wanted to go ahead and move forward with it. If not, we were gonna have to probably file lawsuits, but she decided to
I
cooperate.
understand. I understand what you're saying, but this is all stuff that, until the house is down, we had no clue that this was even an emergency, or there was a violation.
Tom, you've heard me say this many times, all of you have. And I just don't understand, again, why there was a lack of communications on something like this. I mean, I know you didn't know till Thursday afternoon, that's fine, I understand that. But why could not someone have communicated with us late Thursday or Friday? Just to tell us.
Packet.
You're in our packet. Just to tell
I
us
think
what's
Meg had
going
already-
on. Because
I think Meg had already finished the packets, and the
Well-
fact that this was an ongoing program, the Moving Ohio Forward program's been going on for 1.5 years, so it was just the last one of that.
You could have made it, you could have put out an email, just explaining what, if you're getting anything on the street, and that's what bugs us all, is someone comes up to us and says, why are they tearing that house down on Cedar? I have no idea. Aren't you on council? Yeah, but I kind of, I feel dumb.
Well, I just feel when a house is down, and I read in my packet today that the money, we need to vote on to switch this money around on a project that already has taken place. That is
If
frustrating.
it wouldn't have
to me.
been a reimbursement with the Moving Ohio Forward and the money is there guaranteed from the state, it might be a different situation, but it was also an emergency. That's the only reason this moved fast track, because it was an emergency.
And all this discussion between you and the family, and I mean, we have no idea. We don't know anything about this basement, nothing, that we're taking your word that this is what it was, the family, the insurance, the whole thing. We have no clue, but we're putting the money forward on a project that was taken care of today.
I
We didn't
answered to
know.
the mayor, and I would admit, the mayor and I have talked about these projects, and
This
we've
is not the
been...
mayor's account. This is city money. That's all I'm saying.
And the homeowner's on board with it? For the
Yes.
homeowners? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's $100,000, it's less than $10,000.
This time, I understand,
So-
but it's still money being used that we did not vote on.
Kind of still that lack of communication thing again, so that's just what bugs me.
All right. Moving forward. I think we're ready for a vote.
Counselor Chamberlain?
I guess we probably should say yes no matter what, otherwise you,
The family doesn't get
Well, it's
the money.
too late, we have to say yes.
yes. I say, I don't want to stick the family out with that bill, yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, Resolution 2014-12 passes and is now in effect.
Ordinance 2014-6, providing for the issuance and sale of $1,450,000 in notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of improving the municipal waterworks system by acquiring, constructing, installing water line and municipal water treatment plant by constructing an additional treatment building and lagoon, acquiring additional treatment tanks, high service pump, and the additional piping, and making other necessary improvements and declaring an emergency.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and declare an emergency on 2014-6.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Huner and second by Counselor Fry. Is there any discussion? Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final passage?
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Chamberlain and second by Counselor Coast. Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance 2014-6 passes on emergency and is now in effect.
Ordinance 2014-7, amending section 147.08 of the codified ordinances of the city of Wauseon, define part-time employees' hour and full-time employee hours.
So moved.
Second?
Motion moved by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Chamberlain. Is there any discussion? Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance 2014-7 passes on first reading.
Ordinance 2014-8, amending codified ordinance chapter 1117, establishment of districts and maps, and amending the official zoning map.
And this is the PUD issue, right?
Mark, do you want to explain,
Yes.
please?
Yeah. Quite simply, council has before it, you've had your public hearing a couple weeks ago with respect to the PUD application submitted by Mr. Dennis. So you've conducted fact-finding in that regard. Tonight you have an opportunity either to, as a council, reject or approve or reject, whichever way you want to do it, the recommendation and certification of the Planning Commission. So you received before you a certification of Planning Commission recommending a change in zoning, basically a special use or a PUD under your code for a particular location. In order to approve that recommendation, a simple majority would be required by this board. In order to overturn or overrule the certification would require a supermajority or 75%, 3/4 vote. So Mr. McWaters is included in your packet. Alternate legislation, one for passage, one for denial of the recommendation from the Planning Commission.
So Mark, we're going to have 4 people voting, right?
You have 5 council persons currently. I'm sitting in a council chair, I'm not a council person. This one's vacant.
Oh, come
I'll
on.
assure you.
Rick not voting.
Rick has previously recused himself in his capacity as a planning commission member, and he had previously recused himself from the deliberation, well, with respect to his capacity as a planning commission member, both as to deliberation and as to a vote in that matter. He was among the 4 members who recused for conflict of interest. At that time, he had been advised by the Ohio Ethics Commission that it would present a conflict of interest. He has since sought a written opinion from them that he reviewed with me prior to this. They've told him based upon the change in the right-of-way that they don't any longer view it as a conflict of interest. I've indicated to him he's chosen to recuse to date. Whether he chooses to participate or recuse is up to him. I don't think it changes the voting percentages either way, if he participates or recuses. So I'll leave it to.
I have a question to that. Is this just pertaining to council? That he,
Well,
his
the-
ethics letter? I mean.
It's not comprehensive.
When I submitted this, I submitted it as if I was a council member. I did not say anything to
As a
them
planning-
as a planning commission member.
Yeah, my only cautionary note, my only cautionary note would be that from what was presented both at planning and to you as a public body was the granting of that special use by both planning and then adoption and a rezone here. If the primary opposition to it is a diminution in value for each resident in that subdivision, that presents Rick with a
Yes.
problem. Separately, I don't think that was addressed in his letter, but as I've said, it's not my position to say do or don't. It's my position to make sure he's aware of the risks and ramifications of a participation or recusal, and I think he is. So.
Mike, so are you or aren't you going to vote? Are you going to surprise us?
Doesn't like this love
Council
it all.
loves surprises.
Well,
Right?
I was asked by him, and it's going to be a super majority, so if one person votes one way or the other and three the other way, it doesn't make any difference whether I recuse or vote, but if it's a...
But if he votes, we'll have to have 4.
Well, no. If he recuses if he recuses, you have 4 voting members. So it would take 3 of 4 to approve. 2 is a deadlock. The mayor can break a deadlock. If he recuses and there's a motion to deny the application, it requires 3 of 4. 2 doesn't constitute a denial because a denial or reversal of the planning commission's action would require a supermajority. If the 4 of you participate and Mr. Fry chooses not to, that's 3. So the math changes if he participates, but it still requires 3 of this body.
Right.
If he's presumably going to vote no, he may vote, he may not, he may vote yes, I don't know, but to that extent, it's up to him.
And that's new news to me. The simple majority, if it went 2-2 to approve,
Yes.
the mayor would be able to break that tie.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the way the
See, I was under the impression that if it didn't get simple majority, then it moves forward. That he didn't get another crack at it, that the mayor didn't get another crack at it.
well, 2-2, in any event, 2-2 is insufficient to overturn.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. So
Yeah.
then
But
I just-
but you still legislatively, you still
I see. Go.
have to break the
Okay,
tie.
gotcha.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's on a motion to approve the change as certified by your planning commission. So that math and that information is one set of facts. The reversal of that action.
Round and round.
That's why we exist.
Yes, I know.
I love procedure. Without it, I have no job.
Oh, my.
Room spinning.
Any other questions from any other council members?
Thanks a lot.
Well,
I want to thank
Yeah, go
everybody
ahead.
for, the council members have had hundreds of emails, letters. I mean, this is a packet, I don't even have the emails included. So, Mr. Dennis has presented a lot of good information. Pat West people have presented a lot of good information. And the bottom line is, and we've talked as council members, we need to take the emotion out of this. We need to look at our code, we need to look at the zoning, and we need to make a decision based on that. So, I hope that at the end of the day, that people can understand that we have spent an awful lot of time on this, personal time, because it is important to us. Because it's important to everybody out there, including Mr. Dennis, including the Pat West residents. So, I'm proud of the council members up here and all the time that they've spent too on that.
Thanks, and Heather to that, and I mean, thanks for, making sure we're in the loop on everything as council president.
Oh, yeah.
You've done a great job.
Everything that you sent to Heather did come to all council. If you didn't send that, and that was very, very beneficial in today's world to have that technology to do that. There were a few people, Mr. Dennis and Sue Short were here at Committee of the Whole meeting. And the one thing that I did state to them was the fact that I appreciate all of the input and all of the fact-finding and all of the statistics that both parties gave to this council. A lot more than what we knew, and as I stated that Thursday, that we need to really consider what it's going to take to move economically forward positively for this community. That's very important to me. So I want to thank everyone who did all of the research and time towards that for us.
I have one other note I might make for council, which I probably should have said before. Your determination based on planning commission's recommendation, you conduct what's called the de novo or brand new review of those facts. In other words, you have a fresh opportunity. That's why statutorily you had an entirely separate hearing. It's a separate procedure and a separate process. So I just wanted to make that clear if there are any questions about it, since we commented on procedures.
And your letter, the Latin term stood out to me. Thank you.
We try to use that as much as possible.
I went and found the closest attorney. I said, "What does that mean?" But I mean, I would just like to echo a lot that has been said, but thank everybody for being so informative from both sides. We have been inundated with a lot of information right up to the last minute here. We received some more literature, so I would like to thank everybody and just understand as council we're trying to make the best decision as what we think is best, at least for the city of Wauseon. And one thing in my deliberations over the last couple of days, I was speaking with somebody that's obviously wiser than I and pointed out the residents of Barney Oldfield have been a little bit forgotten about. And some negative things have been said about what comes out of the Barney Oldfield Village, but largely it's positive that comes out of the Barney Oldfield, and I feel bad for them too. Also, if this were to go forward, that a lot of traffic would be inundated into their neighborhood as well. So I just would like everybody to know that I'm taking Barney Oldfield residents into account as well in making my decisions. So.
No, let's get it over.
I'm going to make the recommendation that we deny the recommendation that the Planning Commission has brought forward. And this is not, and I've heard this a couple of times, that recommendations that have been brought forward have always moved forward. There hasn't been any contention in that area. The Planning Commission did a wonderful job too with the information that they had, with the procedure that was presented before them. This in no way states that they did not do a good job. They did. I don't agree with the recommendation that they brought forward, and because this is a legislative process, we have the opportunity to state our feelings and opinions, and we base those feelings and opinions on all of this information that we brought forward and our city code. So I would like to make the recommendation to deny that Planning Commission recommendation.
Just a motion. Be a motion.
Yes.
So we aren't acting on this one then?
You're acting on, a denial.
She's presenting a new motion, actually, right?
Well, you have two before you.
Yeah.
08.
Oh, wait.
So one is a draft that says a motion to certify the recommendation of Planning Commission be accepted. One would be a motion that the Planning Commission certified recommendation be denied.
Okay.
So those are you. So I think you made the motion
To deny.
that Planning Commission certified recommendations be denied.
Correct.
So, okay.
And I would second that motion.
Motion moved by Counselor Coast and second by Counselor Chamberlain. Is there any more discussion? Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
And give me one more crack at this. This is what now we're,
Yay, deny, or nay.
okay, we're voting
To deny.
yes or no to deny or not deny.
Right.
Can I clarify as a neutral observer?
Yeah.
I think what you're making a motion, but I think what you're doing is moving for passage of the particular, one of the ordinances or the other. So, just to
We have
clarify.
two ordinances in front of us. We could approve it or we could
You have alternative ordinances in front of you. One approves the Planning Commission's certification for a zoning change. One denies Planning Commission's certification for a zoning change. You have moved and seconded and now voted on
They're different numbers.
So they're both the
No,
same
they're
number,
both-
because it's going to fit in your code book in the same location.
It's no way.
So that, does that answer your question, Council?
Yeah, I got it. Yes?
Counselor Huner
Yes.
and Counselor Fry, I don't know if you were,
Yes.
yes. 5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance 2014-8 passes on first reading.
Moving forward, ordinance 2014-9, levying the assessment.
Are we gonna have more readings on that then?
No, because we're having the open, we have to have the meeting at 7 yet, right? We were told that we
The
had
answer
to do
is,
that.
it's a normal piece of legislation that I think will require the three readings unless council does it on emergency or suspension or however they
Well, we
want
were
to
told
do
it
it.
would be an emergency passed.
So the-
That's what the-
Yeah.
it was passed.
So with the, what, we have 5 denies? So that means it's done, right? I mean.
We didn't accept.
We don't vote
accept-
again.
We didn't accept the planning commission's request.
But that vote is done. We don't need to vote again, right?
I don't know.
Why would that go on 3 readings if we deny, why would we have to deny planning commissions 3 times?
Because it's in the minutes. It's in our agenda as a first reading. I'm just wondering if there's second and third on the way, or?
Do we have to do?
The charter,
Yeah.
again, from a neutral observer, the charter provides the council has to pass an ordinance either denying or accepting. So if it's an ordinance, it's just a normal ordinance that I think would follow the same procedure. Mark, any disagree with that?
No, I agree.
So the 7 o'clock meeting that we have scheduled,
That would be, yeah.
we have it?
Well, we've talked about that, and even on the assumption that it was denied on the first reading and that was effective, I think the idea was that the meeting would go forward, but the parties are free to
I see. Okay.
treat it as they,
Yeah.
As
However
they
much time we want to
desire.
spend on it. Gotcha.
Because there's 2 more readings.
I mean, obviously without if this passes on 3 readings or 2 readings, whatever council does and becomes final, then the PUD application could not proceed.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Ordinance 2014-9, levying assessments for the improvements as set forth in Resolution 2005-10 as amended by Resolution 2006-5 and declare an emergency, parcel number 06-015416-00.000.
And again, this is the assessment, correct, on the sale of the property out?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're looking to move forward on emergency just because of real estate transactions and things like that?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
And just to clarify, there's 2 assessing ordinances. The first is for the primary parcel that's being transferred. The second is for a previous split for which the seller, she's not selling that property per se, but she would like to just pay it up front. So that part, just to clarify, that's not, the second parcel is not being sold. She wants to get it, she wants to move on.
So we will have to do this on all of the parcels out there when they go to pay their assessments? Okay.
I'd make a motion to suspend the rules and declare an emergency on ordinance 2014-9.
Go ahead.
Second?
Motion moved by Counselor Chamberlain and second by Counselor Matthews. Is there any discussion? Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final passage. Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Huner and second by Counselor Coast. Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Fry?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance 2014-9 passes on emergency and is now in effect.
Ordinance 2014-10, levying assessments for improvements as set forth in Resolution number 2005-10 as amended by Resolution 2006-5 and declare an emergency, parcel 06-01541602.000.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and declare an emergency.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Fry. Is there any discussion? Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Frye?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final passage.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Coast and second by Counselor Huner. Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Frye?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance 2014-10 passes on emergency and is now in effect.
Second reading legislation, Resolution 2014-10, authorizing the mayor to enter an amended agreement for a countywide emergency management agency pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5502, and declare an emergency.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and declare emergency on 2014-10.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Huner and second by Counselor Chamberlain. Is there any discussion? Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Frye?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Abstain due to conflict.
4 yeas, 1 abstain, motion carries.
There's no third reading legislation.
Okay, sorry. I'll make the motion to on final passage.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Frye. Counselor Matthews?
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor Frye?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Abstain.
4 yeas, 1 abstain, resolution 2014-10 passes on emergency and is now in effect.
There's no third reading legislation. Any new business?
Shane, how are we doing with the recycling stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if those have been ordered yet or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need them right now anyway. Wait till. fall,
We have a
winter.
ball tournament this weekend?
Do?
I don't know.
Is there a ball tournament?
I don't know. I didn't know.
There was one last week.
You're a ball person.
Somewhere else.
Okay. Motion to approve the bills is presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Huner. Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Huner?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Frye?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Counselor Huner and second by Counselor Coast for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Hey, that's-